Today we are joined by Sheryl Laskie. We're doing another rendition of Ask a NoCo Pro. If you have joined us before or not, Ask a NoCo Pro is where we sit down with a local Northern Colorado expert and we pick their brain on something that they are passionate about and an expert in. So today we've got Sheryl Laskie with Guild Mortgage with us. She's also my beautiful mother, so I really appreciate her coming on today. She is going to teach us about manufactured and mobile homes, which tends to be a very hot topic in markets like Northern Colorado, where affordability is a common topic. You may have your own opinions on manufactured and mobile homes, but that's not what we're doing today. We are just learning and answering questions. So Sheryl, I'm going to let you go ahead and just start off really quick. Will you tell everyone a little bit about you, how many years you have in the industry, just a little about you?
Well, obviously, I'm with Guild Mortgage. I've been here for over 15 years, and I've been in the industry for over 25 years. I've been doing manufactured housing for that much time. So it's an amazing thing to do. It's interesting. It has a lot of complexity to it. And there's also a lot of lenders that just can't do them or won't do them. Um, they're not that hard. We are really, really good at doing them. And we're here for questions. Anytime anybody has them, we are an encyclopedia for your use.
Absolutely. So this is the time as to where you guys can start dropping questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and start off, and I might cover a question that you're asking because I've got some FAQs. But if there's something that I don't cover or something that we bring up that brings you a question, all I ask is please drop it in the chat as opposed to unmuting. That way we can keep this clean and crisp and put it up on YouTube after. So first things first, I know we get this question a lot, and sometimes we catch people listing houses the wrong way because of this. But Sheryl, what's the difference between a mobile, manufactured, or modular home?
So a mobile home, it's kind of strange because they're both called manufactured homes in a lot of, subjects or areas. But the difference is a manufactured mobile was born with a DMV title. It was also born with wheels. So that is a mobile manufactured. A modular had never had its own title. Sorry, I'm fumbling around here. Never had its own title, never had its own wheels. The wheels that it comes in on to be installed, it are a truck. A truck is bringing it in. So it doesn't have a title that has to be purged or anything like that. A modular home is looked at just as wonderfully as an SFR, single family residence. So, and then manufactured, since it has a title, we have to purge it to the land for a real estate situation. There is mobile homes in parks, and that's different. They don't own the land underneath them. And so that's a little bit different. We can also do those, and we're available for questions anytime on that. That is called chattel.
Perfect answer. And then does age of the home matter depending on the type of it?
Yes, it does. So after 1976, I think it's September 1976, might be June. I always have to check it when I have a 76 home. But when it was manufactured after that date, it's okay. It's loanable. Before that date, it's not made to the manufacturing guidelines that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA will loan on. It just wasn't built as well. So after that date, after that 1976 date, we're okay. There's some other guidelines too that might make it where we're not able to do it, but we look at that very in detail on every property that comes up.
Yes, love that. But right, for the modular homes, that doesn't necessarily matter, right?
On a modular home, it does not matter because it's a stick-built home, so it doesn't matter when it was built.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's something we commonly see either flip-flopped. Like we'll see a modular home, which we consider stick-built single family, We'll see it listed as a manufactured home, or vice versa. We'll see a manufactured home, which was born with wheels, which was transported, listed as a modular. So always feel free to reach out to us too when you're listing a house. And we'd be happy to make sure that that listing description is correct so that you can get the right buyers and the right financing. So really good answers, Mom. Okay, next up, I don't see any questions in the chat. So what if someone wants to buy land and place a mobile or modular home on it? I'll start with that as a multifaceted question. So what steps need to happen first?
Well, it's very similar to a regular house being built on land. A little bit different because you have three separate pieces. You have the home price. So you're buying the home from a manufacturer, whether it's modular or manufactured, and they have to transport it to the property and set it up on a slab you've already put there. And so once they do that, there's also the cost for installing it. Well, sometimes the manufactured homes will include that in their price, but the rest of the installation, making sure the septic is tied up or the well or whatever utilities you have, all of those are what's called improvement costs. So a project for a manufactured or modular land would include a home, the land, and then improvement costs. And that's like a general contractor or a builder that kind of knows what they're doing, making sure that this unit gets installed onto this property correctly.
Love it. Do you want to talk a little bit about one-time close, especially now that we have it in the company?
Yes, so one-time close is a situation where we work with the client. People will call us and go, "We want to build on land." That sounds really easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's not that it's hard, it just has a lot of pieces to it. So the first piece is you got to figure out what home. And so it's kind of like buying a car. You have to go and figure out what tires you want and what, and in a figures of a home, what walls you want, what fixtures you want, what everything. There's what roof even. So there's so many details, and you have to figure that out and choose that unit. Then of course you have to find your land. If the land is too expensive, then that might make the project cost a little bit higher. So you want to find land that, is pretty reasonable to keep your project cost down. And then you want to find a general contractor that knows how to install these units on land. And then they will estimate pretty much everything else. What do we need to do on this piece of land? Do we have utilities? Do we just need to run the lines from the street? Or do we need to install septic, and a water tap and those other items? So each piece of land has its own puzzle. So I mean, it's not that it's terribly hard to do. It's just a little complicated and takes a little bit of detailed work.
Yeah, and I think who you work with on stuff like this is really important. I guess you kind of answered this, but we'll Englishify it a little bit more. Can this be done with one loan, or do you need to do separate financing when purchasing land and trying to place a house, manufactured or mobile home on it?
Well, we have every option. So it depends on the client and how much down they want to put and their credit score and things like that. We can do everything from a two-time close, which is a construction loan and then a permanent, to a one-time close, which is, we do the construction and it morphs into the permanent. So it's just called a one-time close. And we can do all of them, and we structure that around, the parameters of the pre-qualifications.
Love it. When you're doing this, whether you're doing a one-time close or a two-time close, how does the value of the land affect the loan?
Well, obviously you can't have land. Let's just say you have a home that's 200,000. You have improvement costs that are 150. You're at 350. So if you have land that's 100, then you're at 450. Typically, that's a reasonable area for a lot of projects. But if you have land that's more expensive than that, or a lot of acreage or something like that, we have to figure out if the land has far more value than the home and the improvements, then that'll get us into some complications that we'll have to try and figure out. And there are ways to figure it out. It just takes a little bit of extra detail.
So you're talking about when the land is being financed. What about when they own the land? How is the value of the land calculated into this loan?
So if they bought the land outright and they don't owe anything on it, that's great because then we don't have land to pay off in the project cost. If they bought the land um, and they owe money on it, then we'll have to pay that off. So that'll need to be in the project cost. Then there's an additional detail on the land. If you've owned it more than 12 months, they're able to use the market value of the land. If you've owned it less than 12 months, they can only use the how much you bought the land for. So it depends how long you've owned the land as well. There's just a lot of different details.
So that can sometimes be like your down payment on the one-time close.
Absolutely. Many times we have that situation where they have so much equity in the land that they don't have to come in with any more money because, we've got the equity because of that land value.
I thought this was a really interesting one. Are there any first-time homebuyer programs that apply to mobile manufactured homes? So not talking modular homes, not talking stick-built, mobile manufactured homes, including chattel.
For a build or for just a regular?
Like if you're a first-time home buyer and you're shopping around and you're looking at homes in parks or homes that are already existing on land, that are mobile manufactured homes. Are there any sort of first-time home buyer programs? Like, tell me a little bit about the difference between that for a first-time home buyer.
Okay, so a first-time home buyer for manufactured on land, we have all the programs. So any program you could get on a regular house, we can get on a manufactured home, and we have
Yes.
several of them. Chattel in a mobile home park is a little bit different. Think of that as a very large RV loan. It will amortize for almost as long as a regular 30-year fixed, sometimes 20 to 25 years, but it is more of a vehicle type loan because you're still working with a DMV title when you're in a park and not true real estate.
Yes. So, weird fun fact, and I'll phrase this as a not a question, but weird fun fact, if you buy a mobile home in a park, you buy something that's considered chattel, like Sheryl said, it lives on wheels, right? It's never going to be attached to the land. You're not considered a home buyer. Like, yes, you own property, and that's great, and we want to help people get into more properties. But if you're buying a home after buying a mobile home in a park, your first time buyer benefits are in most loan programs still there, right? Like, we've done so many loans where we do 3% down, first time home buyer program as we sell their mobile home in a park because lenders consider that chattel, not real property. Does everyone follow on that? Yeah.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, when you buy chattel, you keep your first time home buyer benefits. So up on the screen here, we have this option that we have for chattel, and Cheryl's a great person to talk to because she's going to kind of talk you through pros and cons. We'll be able to calculate what the total payment is for you or for the customer, including lot rent and stuff. So whenever we're running these programs, we always want to have a example address to pre-qualify the client with. So it's important to pick out a house, let us know. As you'll see, there are some flexibilities in it, as low as 5% down, credit scores as low as 550 on some programs. Definitely have us take a look at it first. This specific program allows for single wide, double wide, triple wide manufactured homes. But Cheryl can kind of tell you a little bit more as we get through this about, buying a home in a mobile home park community. So I guess I'll ask it like this, Cheryl. Can you get a mortgage on a home in a park, like a home on leased land with a lot lease?
It is possible to get a mortgage with a home on leased land. It depends on the lease. So it's one of those situations where we would have to get the lease to the underwriter and have them verify that we are able to loan as real estate on that leased land. There's
What
some
about for
lease
cattle?
for chattel, it's always leased land. So it's always for rent. You're never going to be able to own that underneath at all. It's a different type of lease. It's lot rent.
Right. So
And
that's
so
specifically what I'm meaning to ask about.
absolutely, absolutely. So in those cases, so it's like I said, the home is itself, the land is itself. You can put any home on that piece of land, and then you have lot rent, no matter what home you put on it.
Right.
Jamie's right about the guidelines. They're a little different than regular real estate, first time home buyer, FHA, conventional guidelines. For example, with regular guidelines, we're not able to loan on a house that's been moved more than twice. So like it came from the manufacturer to the land, and then they moved it from the land to somewhere else, and then they want to get a loan on it. In regular conventional real estate loans, we can't do that except for VA. For chattel, they are okay with that. If it's been moved from one part to another, they are okay with that. The pre-qualifications for the chattel mobile homes in a park are a little different. You can look around, find a home, find a park, give us an example property, and then we get the client pre-qualified. It's not immediate like a regular pre-qualification because we're actually getting it underwriter approved for the loan up to that amount. If we need to go higher, then we get it back in front of the underwriter, and that's faster. So chattel loans are a little bit different loan wise, but we are very good at it, and we know what to get done.
And just to clarify for the people out there, once again, chattel loans is when you're buying a manufactured home in a park. You don't own the land, you're leasing the land, right? So, and that's completely different than, as we said, a modular home, which we consider stick built, or even a manufactured home on land. Now, Sheryl, if I'm a real estate agent or even a homeowner looking to possibly sell in the future, and I'm trying to look into the process of purging. So I did what you said. I bought my land and I bought my house and I put the house, the manufactured home, on the land, and I haven't done anything else. What are my next steps in getting that property and that title all in one?
So like you said, that's called purging. So when we're doing a build, we're doing the purging at the same time. We fill out a document that the county provides, and we are able to get that document recorded and purge the title, which means search the title, make sure it doesn't have any liens on it, and then they just get rid of the title. It's called purging. And so then that attaches that unit to the real estate, to the property. It's always a manufactured home. However, now it's true real estate, and we're able to do real estate loans on it. So that is, that process. Now, if you buy a home, in a lot of cases, it's already purged. If it's not, we're going to check, and we'll get with title on that to make sure we find the correct recorded documents. If they're not there, we will work with title to get those correct documents recorded to make sure that that title is purged. That's on an existing home on property.
Yeah. So if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. That's why we do Ask a NoCo Pro, because you've got a pro right here in front of you. As you'll see, I've got some of my contact information up there. That office number, that 970-226-5668, that goes directly to the office, which Cheryl's sitting right in front of that phone. So if you were calling it right now, it would ring to her. Of course, you can select from our different loan officers on that line as well. It'll ask you who you're trying to call. Sheryl is definitely the manufactured mobile home queen, as we call her. So as you can tell, I'm just spitballing questions at her, and she has all this information just in her head. So it's really cool to have a resource like this, whether you're a listing agent, a buyer's agent, a potential future buyer, or you own a mobile manufactured home. Like, all of these things are really important to consider. Let's see here. Oh, okay. On real property. So manufactured or modular or mobile homes placed on land, all good and purged. Tell me about pitfalls to avoid when coming up on inspections or missing HUD tags.
So the guidelines for manufactured home on land include a checklist that maybe regular homes don't have. One of those things is to see if we have HUD tags. If we don't, there may be ways for us to get, duplicate information for that. There's also a form in the home, typically kitchen cabinet or electrical cabinet or something like that, that's called the data plate. Weirdly enough, it's a piece of paper, not a plate, but you can always tell it's the data plate because it has a United States map on it. And so that's a very important document. If you can't find it, what we would be requesting is to try and help us figure out what the VIN number is for the home so we can request a duplicate data plate. Some of the other things, especially with FHA and different guidelines, is that they might want to be sure that the home has been installed as per HUD guidelines. So we can do that with an engineer cert that's previous in most cases. If not, we will have to get an engineer certification done, a structural engineer, to say that it has been installed as per HUD guidelines. And so those are just a couple extra things that a manufactured home situation might need. Not in all cases, because some cases somebody might have all those things already available and good to go. You wouldn't want to do a super fast close on a manufactured home because you're not really sure what you don't have. And so you want to have the time to be able to put it together. But it's always very doable. And we get into underwriting and get that figured out very, very early in the process. We get so many fall throughs from other lenders where they're 3 weeks into the contract and they say, oh, it's a manufactured home. And we joke and we say, well, it was a manufactured home the day you got the contract. So you just didn't notice. We know what to look for. We notice. We get on top of that very quickly to make sure we're getting everything going.
Yep. So to kind of recap and confirm, if you are a listing agent or seller and you're trying to sell or list your mobile manufactured home, you've got to make sure you know where the data plate is, right? Or you know that you need to get an engineering cert. And what we have found too is there's conventional engineering certs and there's FHA engineering certs. So, the more you have for a potential buyer, the more potential offers you can take. So having this stuff up front is relatively important. On average, Sheryl, how long would you say it takes to get a duplicate data plate and or an engineering cert?
Normally, we order those things through IBTS, and we can typically get them within a week as long as we've been able to provide them with enough information. Things that listing agents can do to help us is to try and find the tags on the outside of the home. If they're painted over, I highly suggest they unpaint them and get the paint off of them so that we can see the numbers. But just knowing which documents you have and which documents you don't have make your closings much quicker and easier. So that's why we love it when listing agents get with us and so we can help them, put together everything to make their transaction very easy.
Yep. The faster you can sell that home and the less you have to have fallout contracts, the more your seller is going to get out of it. So we'd love to help. Lou wants to know, can you get this information that we're talking about from a previous appraisal?
Which information? Some of the HUD tags and stuff like that? Potentially, yes.
And maybe the VIN number, yeah.
Absolutely. If they have a previous appraisal, and that's a big thing we do when we're doing a manufactured home. We ask them, what do you have? Do you have a previous appraisal? Do you have a pile of manufactured home documents? We will find gold in those documents and, of what we need to get the transaction done. So anything you can find like that. Some of the challenges come when somebody has bought a foreclosed manufactured home and nobody has anything. Then we have to do a lot of detective work, but we're really, really good at it. We work with the counties, we work with, all kinds of different people to pull together all the information to be able to help get it closed.
Perfect. Love it. Okay. I have just a few more questions. Does anyone else want to drop questions in the chat? This is going to be our last couple ones before we do a little bit of an outro. So, Cheryl, I just wanted to ask you, do you have any tips for getting pre-approved for a manufactured home loan if this is something you're interested in?
Well, as with all home loans, we suggest as Guild and as the Laskie team, we suggest getting pre-approved at all times because it makes your offers more powerful. We're able to solve any issues that may be there at that point. We always suggest pre-approval. Now, the chattel in a park is a tiny bit different. Still, we're working for pre-approval, but we need an example home to do it with. It's a little different than a regular pre-approval on real estate, but it does the same thing. Then if we get a different home in a different park, as long as our debt ratio isn't vastly different, we're good to go. If it is, we'll put it back into the underwriter and figure out if we can still go for it. So pre-approval, we highly suggest almost at all times. We can do very quick pre-qualifications, absolutely, because we are fast and good. But pre-approvals are wonderful. They just help everything go better.
Love it. So come to us in advance. Let us take a look at things. Let us chat with you and see what's possible. We have a lot of really cool affordable housing programs coming too that depending it'll definitely apply to modular homes, but depending on how the how the home is set up, we may be able to apply that too. We both work with CHAPA and Metro DPA. We have an FHA zero down program, so if you're looking for low down payment options, we've totally got you there. Otherwise, if you want to put 20% down on a mobile home, we can help you with all that stuff. We're going to talk you through payment. We're going to try to make it easy for you. And then same thing with agents. If you're watching this as a real estate agent and you're like, I had no idea any of that stuff, you can reach out to us at any time and ask us questions. That's what we're there for. So, Cheryl, team wanted to know, can you tell us once more the difference between modular and manufactured home on purged land? I said, and you can probably back this up, but I said modular, no wheels ever, except on a truck bed. That's it. It never has wheels. Like maybe goes on a truck
And no
bed.
title.
Yeah, and the titles never split. So like the land and the house is always together, right? So we don't
Yes.
have necessarily like there's a delivery date, but that is always the same as the like purchase date of the everything.
Yes.
With a mobile home, moves on its own wheels, can put its wheels back on and move again. We need to verify how many times it's been moved and slash or when it was placed. Do you wanna add anything to that?
And it has a DMV title.
Right. Yes. So modular homes, remind me, do modular homes have VIN numbers?
Yes, they do have a VIN type numbers, just like all manufactured homes have some kind of VIN numbers. But one is for manufactured mobile and one is for manufactured modular.
When you're looking at a house, how do you normally find this out? County.
The county is a good start, but like you said earlier, we do get a lot that say it's modular and it's really manufactured. So never trust that. It's not that I'm saying don't trust the county. It's just that some information is very old and it kind of gets transferred from computer database to computer database. So it's always great to check and make sure. We can check through IBTS, we can check through a permit situation. We can figure out if it's, modular or manufactured in a lot of different ways. But yeah, the county's a great start for us trying to find the permit, talking to them. A lot of counties do purge their documents way sooner than is comfortable for us, but we do still try to get them to look through their information, and any note that they can, find will sometimes help us. We've even called old sellers sometimes, somebody who sold the property years ago, to get information. So, there are times it's kind of a detective agency sort of thing, but in most cases, we can find stuff out pretty quickly.
And sometimes you can kind of tell. I wouldn't necessarily trust that, but like modular homes look like houses. Um, they really do. They're stick built. Again, they maybe go on the back of a truck. I mean, some of these, kind of look mobile. But then when we look at mobile homes, like I've had so many where I text Cheryl and I'm like, what the frick is this? Like this mobile home. Kind of looks like a modular. But so you can kind of tell. Biggest thing is you have to do your research, right? Because we don't know until we know. So we have to find out, when was it built? When was it placed? If it was built in 2017 and not placed till 2020, it's probably not a modular. It's not going to be sitting out in the middle of nowhere for 3 years waiting to be placed. It's probably a mobile home in that case. So we do have to do our research. There's no like easy peasy way, kind of like condos and townhouses where, okay, just go look up the legal and it says PUD or it says condo, right? It says lot and block or it says unit. This is not that simple. Yeah, you can go to the county and try to get as much information as possible, but talking to the sellers, I mean, we've had cases in some of these funky little counties where we call them and it's this sweet lady and she's like, oh, we've shredded anything older than 2005. We don't have it. So it really takes a team sometimes to get to the bottom of it. That's why it can be a little bit confusing. If you're buying brand new, it's going to be pretty obvious, right? Is it you buy the land and then the house, or are you doing it all at once? Of course, you can do it all at once with a mobile home, but it's the different build, right? These mobile homes are built to be able to get moved again. Modular homes are not built to be moved again. You probably could, just like you could any other house. I've seen them move 4-story houses in Old Town, Fort Collins. There's big stories and black and white photos of it. It's really cool. It's just not supposed to be moved again.
Yeah, so, no kidding.
I would say that's the biggest differentiator if you're a loan officer or realtor and you're asking these questions. Again, if you're confused, that's why we do Ask a NoCo Pro. We're not expecting you to be a pro on this after taking this call today. We're expecting you to have a resource of Sheryl Laskie to be able to reach out to, ask these questions, get pre-qualified if needed, help your clients, be a good referral partner, and either help you close more deals or help you find that right house, right? We have no opinion on whether or not manufactured or mobile homes are good or bad for you. That is your choice as a homeowner, right? Whether you choose to rent or buy, your choice. What you choose to buy, your choice. We're here to help you either get qualified for what you want, or let's say you come to us and you're just not there yet. Like you've got some stuff to work on. Sheryl or I is going to work with you, or Sabrina, anyone, Kelly, anyone on our team is going to work with you long term to help you be able to get in there. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining Ask a NoCo Pro. Yeah.
I just wanted to remind one more thing. Obviously, we can do this in Colorado and Wyoming and Nebraska and Texas. So if anybody needs help in those states, we can help them there too.
Sabrina says, does pier and post versus fixed solid cement foundation change financing? I don't think so, if it's modular.
Yeah, if it's modular, no, it does not change it. If it's manufactured, it just has to be installed correctly to the slab per HUD guidelines.
Yeah, so you need that engineer cert. That's what's going to tell you, is this installed correctly? You as a loan officer, frankly, you're not going to be able to memorize that knowledge. Like, even if Sheryl goes out and walks the property, she's not like, yep, engineer cert's going to pass. Like, she doesn't know.
No, and it changes. It changes over the years, and those structural engineers, they keep up with that. I mean, there was one home we had where we actually, and this is, kind of a horror story. It's not a regular at all, very rare, but we actually had to lift the home with a crane to correct the slab and then put it back down to make it loanable. That's not a usual situation, but it is very difficult to just tell, just glancing at it. The structural engineers do a lot of work to get it figured out.
Absolutely. So if you need contacts of structural engineers, Ask a NoCo Pro. Maybe we can have one on in the future and ask some questions. I definitely don't want to cut anyone off. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're watching this recorded up on YouTube, you can drop a comment and we will ask Sheryl and we will get back to you with an answer. Otherwise, if you'd like to reach out, you can reach us, like I said, at the office, 970-226-5668. Sheryl's cell phone number is 970-310-5668. She does manufactured and mobile homes in Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, North Carolina, and Texas. Did I miss any?
Nope, that's all.
Heck yeah. And then Guild can help all over the nation. So we've got loan officers on our team that can help you in almost all 50 states. We just don't mess with New York or the District of Columbia. They got weird laws that we don't mess with. So anywhere else, though, we can help you. Again, this is Ask a NoCo Pro. So if you're watching this and you're like, that was really cool, we have previous episodes. We've asked an appraiser. We've asked an inspector, right? We've asked a title company. What does all that stuff mean? If you don't want to talk to someone right now, go watch a recording. And if you have questions or want to run a scenario, just shoot us a message. Anyone else have any other questions before I let you go today? Love it. Sheryl, any closing statements? Anything else you want us to remember from this today?
We are here anytime. You can text us, call us. If there's a home you want us to look at to do some initial, inspection on to try and figure out if it's loanable or not, get it to us. We are available to you for questions, for working out a transaction, obviously fall throughs when another lender is not able to get it done or they just don't know what to do. We're here for you. That's the biggest thing.
I love it. I think my very last thing is, if you're a listing agent or a buyer or a buyer's agent and you have a mobile home in a park that has lot rent, you better never be making an offer with a conventional FHA, USDA, or VA loan. I have had multiple agents call me and say, hey, we're having a loan fall through. We've got a conventional appraisal done, and they send me the property, and it is a lot rent deal. You can only do chattel loans on mobile homes and parks. We're happy to help you with those. We do them, but just be very clear. You can only do chattel loans, okay? If you've got, like we said, some land and a house and it's purged and the title's all one, yes, take that conventional offer, FHA, VA, USDA, but talk to a local lender first. There are definitely deals and stipulations. Like Sheryl said, VA lets that house move more than once, no one else does. So talk to that lender, get that house sold fast, or let us help you secure that property that you really want. We'd love to help. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Jamie.
Bye, guys.
Bye.